What's up, people? Welcome to Big Faces Worldwide. I'm your man, Big Will. Let's dive right in and talk some boxing. It's fight night in Brooklyn, New York at the Barclays. We got three good fights scheduled for this evening. The first fight is Gervonta Tank Davis. It's going up against Jesus Quail Or. Now, Quail Or is an Argentine fighter. He held the WBA featherweight title from 2015 to 2016 before losing it to Abner Mares in a 12-round split decision. Now, Quail Or is jumping up, jumping up a weight class for this fight. This is going to be his first fight at this weight. Um, he's also 28-2 with 21 knockouts. I mean, he's a pretty decent fighter, but nothing special. And when I say nothing special, that's no disrespect to him. I'm just saying that he'll never be on anyone's pound for pound list. But he can punch and he is game. But if he wants any chance at winning this fight, he's going to have to work off his jab. He can't get overexcited and get into a brawl with Tank. You know, in the fight with Mares, he got a little wild at times, coming in with his head. There was a lot of head butts in that fight. He actually got dropped in that fight by Mares. Didn't really seem to be hurt, but he did go down. He boxed well in spots versus Mares, and he'll need to do that versus Tank if he want any chance of winning this fight. Now, as far as Tank, he's 19-0 with 18 knockouts. Now I first seen Tank around 2015. He actually came to Pittsburgh to the Consol Energy Center, and he beat the brakes off of Puerto Rican Israel Suarez, I believe his name was, and he just punished him and got him out of there in the first round. And from that moment on, I knew that Tank was somebody that I wanted to keep an eye on. I thought that he could do big things in the sport of boxing. His last fight was on the undercard of Mayweather McGregor, where he lost his title on the scale. But he's been blessed with another opportunity, man, to fight for a title in his very next fight. You know what I mean? Now you can say what you want about Floyd and Leonard and Mayweather Promotions, but they always seem to put their fighters in the best positions. They always seems to get them title shots and prime time eyes on them type of fights. And it kind of baffles me that more of the top fighters don't sign with Floyd and Mayweather Promotions. Just think about all the exposure that they'll get just by being associated with Floyd Mayweather alone. You know what I mean? Who has over 8 million Twitter followers, over 20 million Instagram followers. And I think that Tank being associated with Mayweather has brought him to a height that he wouldn't have achieved, at least so quickly, if it wasn't for Floyd and Mayweather Promotions. But that's a story for another video. And if Tank wants to win this fight, man, he's going to have to do a few things. I think he will win the fight. I think he will win it by knockout, but he can't just sleep on Quail Or because Quail Or can't punch. But Tank needs to take his time. The fights I've seen him in before Pedraza, Tank would start off super aggressive, and by mid rounds he would look kind of exhausted. You know what I mean? He would sort of blow his load, so to speak. But the last couple fights, he seemed to fix that problem. So hopefully he can continue to do that. Tank's going to have to use his combinations. Tank those beautiful combinations, and he has power in both hands. Tank's going to have to be explosive. Like I said earlier, Quail Or has been dropped by Mares, and he has been knocked out in a fight. Oscar Escandón knocked Quail Or out in 2011 in their fight. And also, Tank's going to have better head movement. Late in fights, he gets hit more often. You know what I mean? And Quail Or can, got a little pop to his punches. You know what I mean? Like I said, out of 30 fights, he's knocked out 21 of his challengers. But I do believe that Tank will win this fight by knockout, maybe somewhere between the fifth and the eighth round. Tank will get the stoppage, and get the victory. Next, we got Jamal Charlo versus Hugo Santana Jr. Now, we know Charlo's 26-0 with 20 knockouts. He has the buzz and the hype, and rightfully so. And his wins over K9, Wilkie Camfort, Julian J. Rock Williams, and Sebastian Heelan, he was devastating, man. But we got to remember 2 fights ago against crafty Austin Trout, it went the distance, and Trout gave Jamal all he can handle. You know what I mean? But he won the fight, and he moved up in weight. This is actually only his second fight at the middleweight division. I watched the interview where he was saying that it was kind of hard for him to make weight. Plus, him and his brother's been beefing with Tank and Broner on social media and everything. So I'm just curious to see if he can come in 100% focused on the fight. So we'll just have to see. Just watching the weigh-in, Centeno looked bigger than I expected for some reason. I didn't expect him to be as big as or bigger than Jamal, but it surprised me. Centeno himself was a hype prospect at one time with the record of 26-1 with 14 KOs, and he's only 27 years old, and he's in position to rebound even better than he did in his last fight, which was a highlight reel knockout win over previous unbeaten Emmanuel Alim. Now, he did lose to Selecki in 2016, but Selecki, he's undefeated. He's facing Daniel Jacobs pretty soon, and he can't fight. So it wasn't like he lost to some bum. But Charlo is the favorite, and rightfully so. I do expect Jamal Charlo to get the win, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a better fight than people anticipated. Just with all the distractions and them struggling to make weight, and given that Centeno's not going to lay down, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a better fight than everybody expected. Next up, we got the main event, Jesse Vargas versus Adrian Broner. Now, I'm really, really excited about this fight. Vargas is 28-2 with 10 KOs. Vargas lost. He did lose when he stepped up like Adrian Broner. He lost to Manny Pacquiao and Timothy Bradley. Vargas is talented. He has good skills, and he's game. I mean, for weeks and weeks, man, I was real excited. I was watching the 25-8s, and I was up on my social media thing heavy. Just checking for the fight and everything, and I was surprised that I didn't see a whole lot of the usual antics from Adrian Broner, man. I was happy. I seen him training. He looked like he's in shape. And then he gets to Brooklyn yesterday, man, at the pre-fight conference, and he just acted damn fool, man. I really thought his mind was focused, man. I thought his mind was somewhere else. You know what I mean? I thought he was in another place, man. And I was just disappointed that he has to act like that. And I don't know the backstory of what's really going on with him and Leonard and that whole situation. But what I do know is that when you're doing business, man, there's a time and a place for everything, man. And I just don't think that on this platform that was the time to to address how he felt about Leonard Ellaby, man. Leonard Ellaby is a cool dude, man. I met him a few times. He's a cool dude, man, and Mayweather Promotions, they're putting on the greatest events. That we're getting all these great events because of Mayweather. If not Mayweather Promotions directly, Mayweather Promotion relationships. You know what I mean? Mayweather Promotions got relationships with Showtime, Steve Espinoza, who's running things over at Showtime. When you see him with Mayweather at different events, you know what I mean, at Mayweather's party, at Mayweather's house, is, you know what I mean, that tells you right there that their relationship is stronger than people may realize. You know what I mean? So Mayweather Promotions got a lot of influence on the sport of boxing right now, especially everything that's going on in the Barclays. You know what I mean? If Mayweather Promotions got influence, you know, Al Heyman got influence. Al Heyman, Steve Espinozo, and you know, Leonard Ellerby is a part of that. You know what I mean? And for Broner to be getting up there in front of everybody, showing his ass and acting a fool, man, I just hope he don't destroy. I hope he don't destroy what little reputation he has left, man. Because people ain't gonna want to fuck with you, man, when you acting like that, man. People ain't gonna want to mess with you and do business with you when you show out like that, man. I mean, you know, like I said, there's a time and place for all that, man. But you know, all that aside, I do believe Broner is in great shape, man. He looked good, man. He looked ripped up. He didn't look all sick. He didn't, you know what I mean, he didn't look sunken in. He looked like he had a great camp, man. Watching the 24 to 25-8 series, he was putting in work, man. And I do believe that it'll show up in the fight. Broner gets a lot of flack. Now we strictly talking about boxing now. Broner gets a lot of flack, you know, but you have to remember, when Broner fought Paulie Malignaggi, he jumped up 2 weight classes. You understand? He skipped over 140 and went straight to 47. You know what I mean? And that's the reason. That's one of the reasons why he gave Paulie gave him a closer fight than people expected. You know what I mean? People thought Broner was just gonna go in there and punish Paulie, but you know, Paulie can fight, man. And Broner wasn't used to that size. You know, Paulie's not a true welterweight either, but he's been at the division for a long time, man. And I believe the size of Paulie gave Broner difficulty. You know, not that Paulie's a real physical guy, but just the weight, you know what I mean, them pounds is a big difference, man. And Broner seen that. And I do believe that when his next fight, his next fight was at 147 was Maidana. So how you go from Paulie Malignaggi, you know, who's a world champion, okay? You go up in weight, 2 weight divisions, you know, you win the title. You know, I ain't even gonna get into Maidana right now. I'm just talking about Broner coming up 2 weight divisions and winning the title. And so you got to remember, Adrian Broner is not a naturally big guy. He's really a little guy, but it's just hard for him to make the weight. He's like big boned. Like, you seen his dad, you know what I mean? No disrespect to his dad, but you seen his dad. You know, Broner has that in him. You know what I mean? Broner has that in him. So that's why he couldn't make the weight as easily, you know, as he used to. You know, as he get older, you know, it's harder to shed these pounds. You know what I mean? But Adrian Broner, he's never lost to a light puncher. And, you know, that's the category you got to put Jesse in, only stopping 10 of his 30 opponents. And because of Jesse's lack of pop and Broner's speed, I like Broner's chances to oppose his will against Jesse. You know, Jesse has struggled throughout his whole career with fighters that has speed. And, you know, Broner does have speed. He can throw some crispy combinations. And, you know, it's going to be I think it's going to be a very entertaining fight. But Adrian Broner is one of the hardest fighters to figure out. He's extremely talented, but he's rarely prepared to be at his mental best. But, you know, despite all that, I do see Adrian Broner winning this fight in spectacular fashion. I think that the way he wins, the way he beats Jesse Vargas will put him back in the conversation as a top contender. I guess we'll see tonight. But that's all I got. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.